In 2025, I decided to challenge myself with making my first ever TBR and seeing if I could complete it throughout the year. Now, I've been an avid reader on and off for my entire existence, pretty much, since I could learn to read. But I didn't start taking it seriously until about 2018 or 19. I'm such a mood reader that making a TBR list, something about it didn't feel right in my soul. For me, I love watching people make TBRs. I love seeing if they complete them. And sometimes I'm like, what if I made a monthly TBR? I always thought about making a monthly TBR and I was like, no. So I thought maybe I make a yearly TBR. I saw the 24 for 24s, 23 for 23s, and I was like, I want to make a 25 for 25. I want to see if not only I have enough self-discipline to continue this challenge throughout the year, but if I have the will to read every single one of those books. And I gotta say, I have to say, I surprised the heck out of myself. I expected to abandon it by March. I'm not gonna lie. Surprised to me when I read over 20 books. So let's go through them and see which ones I finished. You are going to be seeing clips of me from the day after my birthday last year, 2020, February 2nd, 2025. Brittany is going to be popping up and on the screen periodically. I originally recorded a 25 for 25 video, and then about 5 minutes after finishing it, I got information that somebody passed away. So I abandoned pretty much everything. But I'm not gonna let it stop me this year. We are going to use that footage because I have a horrific habit of recording entire videos and then deleting them immediately. Who records a 24-hour challenge and then deletes it because the sun was too bright? Girl, fix it in editing. Whatever. Okay, 2025 Brittany, take it away. Let's start with the obvious one, and that would be Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I am currently reading this book. I'm about 30% of the way through, and I am taking my sweet ass time about it. I am savoring every moment of it, partly because I'm terrified and anxious and nervous, and there's kind of a lot going on at the beginning of the book. Anyways, okay, Onyx Storm. Did I finish it? Of course I finished it. Are you kidding me? The Empyrean series has taken the reading world by storm, whether you like it or you hate it. Regardless, you're talking about it. And I was one of those people, and I gave it 5 stars. Are we surprised? No. Did it deserve 5 stars? That's up to you. I enjoyed it. I was confused at first, in the beginning, and I said this before. They introduced a lot of new characters, a lot of new places, and it was fun to visit those new exciting lands, but it was a little bit hard for me to keep track of them for probably about the first 30%-ish. And I do have an issue when it comes to this series, is that sometimes things go their way a little bit too perfectly. Somehow, 90% of the time, they magically escape from the situation, or things just domino effect into working out for them. And I will say that the ending left me feeling incomplete. I didn't really grasp I grasped what was happening, but I don't know what's happening because of how the book ended. And so a part of me is like, do I care? Which is good for me, because if we're not getting the book for a couple of years, then I'm not over here crying and sobbing about it all of the time. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. One of my favorite authors, one of my favorite romance authors. I love her. She can do no wrong. I was not a fan of Just for the Summer at all. Actually, that was my least favorite book by her. I'm hoping that I love this book. I'm hoping so much that I will love this book like everybody else loved Just for the Summer. And I've loved all the rest of her books, so fingers crossed. Say You'll Remember Me. Whew. I unfortunately did not love this book like I was hoping to. I gave it 3 stars, and this is the second time in a row I'm giving an Abby Jimenez book 3 stars, which I almost always give her 5 stars. The lowest was probably 4. So it fell flat for me. Again, just like Just for the Summer. I did not like that book. That was my least favorite book from Abby Jimenez. It might still be my least favorite book, but this one is essentially tied with it. Besides being boring, I found it repetitive, which is probably what lended it to being boring to me. And once again, I felt like we had no chemistry between the two characters. We have now had 2 books in a row where the characters just met each other and fell instantly in love, and I hate that. I hate it. And the last thing I'll say about this book is, while it worked out for them in the end, it's because it's fictional. Do not put yourself in hundreds or thousands of dollars in debt. Please, do not do that. And don't fuck up your credit score for a love interest that you're not even dating. Do not do that. You are screwing up your life. The main character was just all too willing to throw everything away at a chance of being with this girl. Do not do that. Don't do that. Enigma by Onyx. I discovered that I love Onyx and her writing last year. I read the Darkverse series, I read Gothicana, and I saw that Enigma was coming out this year, and I'm so excited. I read the synopsis. I don't remember much about it. I just know I'm sad. Enigma. Yes, I read it. I read it as soon as it came out. Are you kidding me? I love Onyx. I have loved all of her books. This one was my least favorite. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't until I was about 30% of the way through, maybe 30% is when books hook me, I don't know. But it wasn't until I was about 30% of the way through where I actually fell in love with the story and zoomed through it. But the first 30% I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? You know? Also, the ending seemed a little bit, like I felt like there were things in the story that were missed entirely. An example would be at the end of the book, there is a cave scene and something is insinuated happening, and I had to keep flipping back and forth between the pages because it never happened, and I'm still confused about it to this day, and I don't know what happened. So Abby puts out a book, I'm reading it. Onyx puts out a book, I'm reading it. Emily Henry puts out a book, I'm reading it. And that's why Great Big Beautiful Life is also on my TBR for 25. I can't wait. I'm excited. Emily also only has 1 book that I didn't really like, People We Meet on Vacation. I didn't really like Book Lovers that much either, but People We Meet on Vacation was hard for me to read, so if it's vibes like that, I might struggle, but I'm really excited for that too. Great Big Beautiful Life. I, like pretty much every other reader of romance on this planet, was excited for Emily Henry's book. The difference is, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this book immensely. Is it my favorite Emily Henry book? No. But do I think it deserves reviews it has? Not at all. If you went into this book expecting romance like all of her other books, then you were let down. If you went in with a more open mind, without any expectations, I think you enjoyed it a little bit more. Emily tried to do something different here, and I applaud her for stepping out of her comfort zone that she has been boxed into. And I personally enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed all of the character stories. I liked watching Alice and Hayden, but I also enjoyed Margaret's life story and the back and forth that we were doing. I think the book showed familial love and loyalty. In a way that is hard to explain for some people. It's beautiful even when it can be heartbreakingly sad. The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer Armentrout. I am so absurdly happy and so absolutely devastated because I love Cass. I love Cass and Poppy so much. Ooh, the Primal of Blood and Bone. Now I will have to say, because I watched the footage before this, I went on sort of a tangent when I was talking about this book previously, so a lot got cut away. So if it seems weirdly edited, it's because I felt like most of it didn't need to be in there. But anyways, yes, this was a last minute, and I do not joke, it was a last minute shoe in because I couldn't get a hold of this book at all. The library never added it to Libby for me, and so I was like, I'm not gonna get this. I should go to the library. I'm not gonna go to the library because I am a lazy human being, which I should change that. Anyways, I was like, I'm never gonna get a hold of this book. They're never gonna put it on Libby. I'll never be able to read it. I was being dramatic. It got added a few days before Christmas. I got the borrow on the 23rd. But on that day, I finished Alchemized. Actually, I think Alchemized finished me, which I do have a vlog for that. hopefully coming soon. I could not tell you. So I borrowed this book on Christmas Eve, and I finished it 3 hours before the new year. Like literally at 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. I ignored my phone. I ignored my coworkers. I ignored everybody because I was bound and determined to finish this book. I do think that you should read the Flesh and Fire series either with or before Blood and Ash, because all of those characters show up in this book. Don't expect all of those characters to, survive, apparently. It was kind of like a slap in the face to have these characters that you love show up from a different series to just immediate. We're not going to talk about it. I could not wait for Attiz and Castile to interact with each other. Was it everything I hoped and dreamed for? No, but I loved every freaking second of it. I think I just love Attiz, and I'm so freaking happy to see more of his character. Okay, I'll calm myself down. The lack of Kieran throughout the book is criminal. It kind of pisses me off, and from reviews I saw, I was not the only one that was irritated by this writing thought process. If JLA does not give me my throuple, I'm going to lose my shit. She would be a coward. It would be such a coward move to not give me my throuple. I will die on this hill. I've never even read a throuple book. But if Kieran and Cass and Poppy do not end up as a threesome, and on top of that, if Kieran dies, I can't say what I'll do because then it can be used against me in a court of law. I will riot. I'm gonna calm down again. I did have a lot of issues with this book. It was very repetitive. The same old lines. If you read Blood and Ash, you know that there are certain lines that end up in every book. You can bet your ass they were in this book. I also, you couldn't have Cass and Poppy in the same room for 2 seconds without there needing to be a smut scene. Now, I have no issue with smut. I will read it in any book. Any book? I'll read it if it's in a book. When we have 3 smut scenes in like 2 chapters, my God, you've got to be joking. Those two couldn't be in the same room without ripping each other's clothes off, and I was sick of it. I was so sick of it. Have a conversation. Have some substance. Your relationship at this point is entirely physical, and only because you're heartmates, whatever. I got so sick of the smut. I was over it. Also, Castile is the epitome of a man can't go 2 minutes without thinking about sex. What are we doing? Why did you turn his character into this man can't have a conversation without thinking about his... I was so over it. Those 2 things kind of ruined the book for me entirely. But the end where I was emotionally devastated and wrecked, and Delano... Yeah, I wasn't sure what to rate this book, so I actually never rated it on Goodreads. I think I'm settling with a 4, because if you took out those smut scenes, I would have loved a lot the majority of this book. Whatever, so devastating. And then I have Eldritch by Carrie Lake. This is the 2nd book in the Eating Woods, and I am fiending for it. Like, I was so obsessed with Enigma. God, it was so, if you like dark fantasy, chef's kiss. I liked it so much more than Nocticadia. It was everything. It was everything for me, and I cannot wait to read that 2nd book. I can't wait. Eldritch. Hell yeah, I read that. Yes, I read it. I consumed it vigorously. I do wish I had done an Anathema reread before I jumped into Eldritch, because there were some things that I had forgotten. There were some things I was confused about. Eldritch jumped right in where Anathema ended, so I apparently forgot where Anathema ended, because when Eldritch started, I was like, whoa, wait, that happened? That happened, huh? I guess that happened. By the end, I felt like I had been punched in my chest. I felt like I had cement blocks weighing down my shoulders. That ending had me spiraling down into this deep, dark cavern where I could not find the light to get out. I felt emotionally hopeless. I was devastated. Send help. The only thing that I can sort of compare it to, maybe the ending of Alchemized, because I felt similarly, but Alchemized was way more. It was way more. Eldritch just hurt so deeply. I have a reading vlog if you would like to see that. It is in my spooky reading vlog, which I will link up and below, up and down, here and there. Oh, I gave it 4 stars. I don't know if I said that. I started thinking about none of these books are out. I need to find books that I can read right away. And so I added The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri to my TBR. I don't know. I've always wanted to read it. I've always been interested in it. I loved the Dante's Inferno video game. I thought that was so much fun. I really went, was it like 14th century or something? I really went so far. So that'll be a challenge. I did get the audiobook. There is an audiobook with a full cast, and I have started it. I have not gotten very far. It's a lot. The Divine Comedy. Remember how I said I was reading that? Remember how I said I got the audiobook for that? Me thinks it was a mistake because I ended up DNFing this book. Ooh. I tried. I tried with the audiobook. I made it through Inferno. I made it halfway through Purgatorio before I called it quits. The audiobook, I thought, I don't know. A full cast. No, I think The Divine Comedy needs to be read with focus and intention, and not while you're going on about your day in an audiobook format, because not only could I not take it seriously, I barely understood what was going on. I love the Dante's Inferno video game, so I thought this would be an easy win for me. I was like, heck yeah, I could. Easy. Are you kidding me? No. Maybe I could revisit that book in the future. Maybe I could do a rereading my DNFs or something book, but as of right now, no. I've never read a Stephen King book, so I'm like, let's add one. Carrie is the one that I thought I would enjoy the most. I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, and I was on the girl's side. I know that, so listen, I don't know. Yeah, I read my first Stephen King book. Yup, that happened. I read Carrie. I did. I will be continuing on my Stephen King journey. In fact, I have one of his books on my 26 for 26 video, which will be made next, hopefully. Fingers crossed, you know. Moral of the story, kill your bullies. Just, for legal purposes, this is a joke. But I had my girl Carrie's back the whole time. Maybe not the whole time, because she did go kind of off the rails, but like the majority of the time, I was there. I was riding for my girl, for sure. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. In fact, the next 4 I added because I want to see what the hype is about. Everybody's obsessed with the Boys of Tommen series. I've talked about it before in the one book tag that I did in October. There's like 4 videos on my channel, and it shouldn't be that hard to find if anybody's curious. Binding 13. No. So we have reached my first fail. My first did not read this book. I couldn't. I did not have it in me to start this universe yet. I didn't. But I did add it to my 26 for 26. So here's the hoping. Here's the hoping again, I guess. I don't know. I want to read all those books that people are so obsessed with, and that is why Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings is also on that list. People are obsessed with Boys of Tommen, obsessed with Magnolia Parks, and I want to understand why. And I just know I'm going to eat those stories up. I hope I didn't just jinx myself, actually. Magnolia Parks. Still no. This is like Boys of Tommen. So many people love these books that I am afraid. I'm afraid. I don't know why. It's become daunting to think about reading these books. It was at this point that I noticed I put the first book in a series for the majority of my list, which could have been my downfall. Because usually I like to finish a series out before moving on to the next one, and that equates to a lot of books. So that's 2 fails in a row. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm pretty sure this series is wrapping up this year, so that'll be good for me because I can just jump right in and read the entire series in one go. I really want to read the Powerless series. I want to hear about Kai and Peyton. People are obsessed with them. They love those books. And I tend to agree with the people who are obsessed with them, so I hope I become obsessed with them as well. Powerless. Yes. And like I was just saying, I ended up reading the entire series right then and there because I timed it perfectly for Fearless to come out. And I could see the similarities between Red Queen and Hunger Games, but I still had a good time. Listen, I love Kai and Pei. I'm sorry. Peyton is probably one of my favorite female characters I've ever come across, and I love Kai. I ended the book thinking, where do we go from here? How is everything going to be okay? So I immediately jumped into the second book. I didn't even care about a 25 for 25 list at that point. And I gave it 5 stars. There is a reading vlog featuring Powerless. How many times am I going to say this through this video? Probably a lot. It's going to be linked. Wild Love by Eilxir Silver. I don't think I've ever seen anybody say anything bad about Eilxir Silver, and I've never read one of her books. Wild Love, yes, 5 stars. I'm just going to say 5 stars right off the bat. I don't care. This was my first Eilxir Silver book, and I understand. I understand why people love her writing. I see why it gets the hype that it does. The writing is easily digestible and the characters are just fun to root for and fun to watch. I was unsure about the father-daughter dynamic because I tend to avoid reading books with kids. They're not usually my favorite, but I really loved Cora. I thought she was a great addition to the book, and I adored her. Watching her and Ford's relationship develop and grow was just so sweet. It was so sweet, I got a toothache. I will say that I could have done without so much juvenile banter between the 2 main characters, especially towards the end, but I did love this book. There's also a reading vlog for this, and that vlog also has Mile High and Love Redesigned, but posting it in the holiday season didn't seem like the right thing to do. I don't know why. Probably because I'm wearing t-shirts. It's warm in like Australia. I'm not in Australia, but you know, maybe I'll post that, or maybe I'll scrap it like I do with every other video. A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. I've read 2 other Adrienne Young books. The first one I was kind of just like, yeah, it was good, whatever. But The Unmaking of June Farrow, I got an ARC copy of that, and I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but I was obsessed. I was obsessed. I loved that so much, and I don't like books that are set in past like historical times. It was like the 70s or something, so it's not like super historical, but also that was 55 years ago, so that was quite some time ago. I'm kind of excited to see how I feel about this one, and that'll help me figure out how I feel about Adrienne Young in general. And the cover was really pretty. A Sea of Unspoken Things. Yes, I did read it. I really enjoy Adrienne Young's writing. I loved The Unmaking of June Farrow. I think this book was my least favorite of the 3 that I've read though, unfortunately. But I still had a great time reading it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I just had to lower my expectations while it went on. It was more of a mystery than it was anything else, or it gave more mystery vibes than anything. I can't remember if it was labeled as a mystery or not, but she tends to do more of a magical realism, magic-y type approach. And I think there was that aspect in it a little bit, but not enough to like fulfill a need inside me or something. I will continue to read her books whenever she drops them though, 100%. Also, her covers are gorgeous. Then we have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, the slow burn queen, as I've heard her referred to. I have been wanting to read a Mariana Zapata book for a while now. I love slow burn novels so much. All Roads Lead Here. Yes. This was my first Mariana Zapata book. It was not my last Mariana Zapata book. I read 2 more back to back right after that. 3 slow burns in a row. And she is in fact the queen of slow burn. and I loved every second of it. I am an avid connoisseur of slow burn, and I was having a great time. I had fallen into a slump in 2025, and this was the first book in about a month and a half to 2 months where I actually wanted to read it. I was obsessed. I was at home. I would leave my Kindle at work. I read at work. I leave my Kindle at work, and then I'd be at home like, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're doing. I could be reading right now, but no, I didn't bring my Kindle home with me. I love that it took time to develop the relationship. I am so sick of insta-love stories. I'm so sick of insta-lust stories. I'm over it. I also think that this book helped paint grief in a beautiful way, especially the ending. And if you're interested in seeing my reactions, say it with me. There is a reading vlog. For somebody who has like, I don't know, 5 videos on my channel, why are there so many reading vlogs? How did I do that? I've got like, maybe I have more than 5 videos. Maybe I've got like 7. I don't know. Mile High by Liz Is it Tom Ford or Tom Fordy? I've heard both. I like sports romances. This is another series that people constantly talk about. I haven't read a sports romance in a while. Since like the beginning of 24 with Elle Kennedy's Off-Campus series. Mile High. I loved this book. You can argue with a wall. I do not care. I do not care. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Oh, I loved Xander's. I loved CV. I loved everything. I loved the growth that Xander's character had, especially when it came to his father. I loved the dogs. I loved that senior dogs and abandoned dogs get a special spotlight here. I think the abandonment and neglect of animals should be talked more, but people think they're not as good as people, they're below people, so it doesn't matter. We need to focus on people before we focus on animals, and I just don't agree with that. I think animals should also be focused on. I'm going on a tangent that has nothing to do with Mile High. Okay. But I will say, always remember, adopt, don't shop. My kitty is adopted. I love her more than anything. And if you bring home an animal, that is a lifetime commitment. That is not something that you get to get rid of unless you have absolutely valid concerns. Do not get rid of your old animal to get a new one because you want something new and shiny. You're a shit person if you do. Anyways. Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. A book series people are always talking about. An author people are always talking about. Love Redesigned. Yes. I didn't get into the story right away, but once I hit about 34%, again, I went from 34% to finished real quick. I don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened. I think this book showcases different types of grief in a really great way. Grief of a parent, of a potential relationship, etc., as well as depression, anxiety, insecurity. I think this book touched on those topics really well, and I gave it 4 stars. And remember, reading log. Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I don't know much. I heard it's dark. I heard there's demons. I heard I'm gonna like it. And I said okay. That's really all it took for me. Apparently I was easy to please. I don't know. Her Soul to Take. Apparently I was not as easy to please as I thought I was. Because I hated this book. I hated this book. I don't know if I read the same book as everybody else because what the fuck was that? What was that? The concept was there, but the execution was atrocious. I tried both physically reading it, I tried listening to the audiobook, and I didn't want to finish either of them. Nope. Okay. There wasn't a single thing about this book that I liked at all. Physically, audibly, none of it. Ray may be one of the dumbest people I have ever had the displeasure of reading. And what really pisses me off is that I'm curious enough about book 2 because I saw Zane for about 2 minutes and I was like, hey, kind of attractive. Sue me, I don't know. 1 star. This might have been my only 1 star of the freaking year, and it belongs to Her Soul to Take. Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli? Oh, I do not know. Ciccarelli. Heartless Hunter. The 2nd book comes out this year. That's another one I was super excited for, and a lot of the people that I follow love it. And I usually love what they love. So, again, here's hoping. Heartless Hunter. Yes, I read Heartless Hunter and finished out the year with Rebel Witch. The fact that they ended up more enemies than they started in book 1 was just exquisite, so fun, so great, and I loved it, but it was also criminal. Because how are you going to make them like each other again? That was a true enemies to lovers book, and I loved that. I loved that this was a different take on witches that we usually get. I love that it was more gritty and darker and wasn't all cozy fantasy yada yada. This was blood magic, and I really enjoyed that. And I have a reading vlog. This is in my reading vlog with Powerless and One Dark Window, which we'll get to. 4.5 stars, by the way. Did I say that? 4.5 stars. House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I would like to read the Crescent City series this year. I hope I like it. I've heard a lot of people were super disappointed with the last book, so I'm gonna try to go on with no expectations, but I miss her writing. Who knows if we're gonna get another ACOTAR book, so I'm gonna read Crescent City in the meantime. House of Earth and Blood. Yeah, I read that. Are you kidding me? Danica being my favorite character is a special kind of cruel. I just got between Eldritch, Danica, and Alchemized. The last few months of 2025, please, I was struggling. I was going through it. Said help. My comment about Danica was quite literally the only review comment that I left for this book, because when I finished, I didn't know how to feel about it. And I still kind of don't really. I enjoyed it. I cried a lot. The end scene, or not the end scene, you know what I'm talking about. Especially when I say Danica is my favorite character. If you read the book, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. And of course, what would become my catchphrase apparently is I am making a reading Crescent City. I still have 2 more books. I officially got the 3rd one for Christmas, so we can go through it now. We can do it. Also, I gave it 4 stars. I don't think I said that. It is snowing. I hate winter. Caraval by Stephanie Garber is another one. I've had that on my TBR for quite some time, but I've just never decided to dive into that world. But it's always intrigued me, and some people are ride or die for that series, and I want to know why. That's pretty much it. I've always wanted to read it, and here we go. Caraval. Yeah, 4.5 stars. I read the entire series. I even read Spectacular. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah. Though there were many things that irritated me about this book, mainly Scarlet and her need to take care of her sister over any common sense that she could have. I really enjoyed the story. I almost read it in one sitting, and if things like work didn't exist, I would have read it in one sitting. I enjoyed that this book was able to transport you to a world that was a little whimsy, but also made you entirely apprehensive. I do plan on starting the spin-off series this year. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab as well. V.E. Schwab is another author that some people are ride or die for. And I've only ever read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it, because that's another one that's got like a past present type thing. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the audiobook. So I have a bunch of V.E. Schwab books on my TBR, and I thought, why not? A Darker Shade of Magic. Yes. I wish I enjoyed it more than I did, unfortunately. I could not connect to it no matter what. None of the characters held my interest. I was super intrigued by the plotline. I was interested to see what was happening. I was just bored. The characters were one-dimensional or irritating to me, and the end fight between all of these supposedly super powerful beings was wrapped up rapidly, like a couple pages. It was just wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, and I just, whatever. The story itself dragged on to me. The concept was interesting, and I see so much potential for the other books. I just don't think I'm interested in carrying on. 2.5 stars. Scythe by Neil Shusterman. It's been on my TBR forever. I just was running out of books that I absolutely wanted to read. That's been on my TBR for a long time. I don't see myself reading it anytime soon, so I thought, why not challenge myself and add it to my 25 for 25. Scythe. No, this was my 3rd miss. It wasn't available on Libby, it wasn't available on Hoopla. I would have had to make a trip to the library, and again, we covered this. I was a lazy human being. I did not do that. I also didn't have the strongest urge to read this book, so it wasn't high on my priority list. Yeah. One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This was another one that had its moment. Some people really like it. Some people don't care for it as much. But the covers, every time I see the cover, I'm like, dang, I want to read that book. I want to read that book. Every time I read the synopsis or hear about it, I want to read the book. So I added that one as well. One Dark Window. You bet your ass I read this book. I loved this book. 5 stars, first of all. I will say that the magic system slightly confused me at the beginning, but I do think that was because I was reading 3 different magic systems back to back because I read this for the Powerless Heartless Hunter vlog. So I learned the Powerless magic system, and then I learned the Heartless Hunter magic system, and then I jumped into the One Dark Window magic system, and I think that got me a little bit lost, even though they were all somewhat similar, but maybe because they were similar is why I got a little bit confused at the beginning. But in the case of One Dark Window, there is not much that I disliked about this book. This was nice. I loved Raven. I liked Elm. I loved the Nightmare. Emery was great. Elspeth most of the time. The spooky gothic atmosphere was kind of everything to me. I was obsessed with that. The spooky gothic atmosphere, Raven, and the Nightmare kind of were it for me. Just, yes. 5 stars. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. Now, I know the 3rd book is coming out this year, very soon actually, but I never read the 2nd book, so I added that to my TBR, and that is the one book that I have finished so far. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. I didn't have a good time. I just find Emily grating, irritating, full of herself, and that she somehow got worse from book 1 to book 3, and it just kind of ruined the story for me. Her character had somehow regressed. Like, I liked her in book 1. In book 2 she irritated me. This book, it was almost too much to read at times. I just was not, no. Emily was a know-it-all throughout the entire book, to the point where she couldn't believe she was wrong, yet she was continuously oblivious and pig-headed throughout the entire thing, and I couldn't stand it. I could not stand it. And it was completely gross the way that she treated her niece and Wendell, and that's a whole nother thing. I seriously wonder about the people who are ride or die for Emily Wendell as a pairing. I don't get it. I don't get it at all, actually. I also don't even understand why Wendell even likes Emily. I see 0 qualities in her that are attractive. The way she treats him, I don't get it. I do not get it. She has done absolutely nothing to win his affection, to even earn his affection, and it seems like his character was made to specifically just love her, just because. 2.5 stars. That's it. And then lastly, we have the Love Eilxir of Augusta Stern by Linda Loigman. It's a super pretty cover. It's a historical, which is my least favorite genre. So I'm kind of surprised about that. That's almost like a personal challenge to myself because I stay away from historicals as much as I can. But there's something about that one that's kind of pulling me in a lot. And I said, why not? Lastly, The Love Eilxir of Augusta Stern. Did I read it? No. This was my 4th and final failure for my 25 for 25 reading challenge. I wanted to listen to the audiobook for this one, and I was really excited to listen to it at the beginning of the year, but the audiobook wasn't available to me for a long time. I found it on Spotify towards the end of the year, and at that point, I just didn't care. I didn't want to read it. I lost any interest that I had in it. I thought about reading the book physically because it was available to me, and I didn't want to. I did not want to. That is my 25 for 25. What? I read all but 4. I read 21 of 25. I count that as a win. I don't care. I did better than I ever expected to. I genuinely thought I would read like 7 and call it a day. I'm pretty proud of myself. I don't care. A little pat on my back for me. A lot of these books were anticipated reads for me. I got a few of my 5 stars. I only got like 14 5 stars in the year of 2025, and a lot of them were on this list. So I guess that was successful. So yeah, success. I'm proud of myself. I enjoyed this. It was a fun challenge. I enjoyed it enough that I made a 26 for 26 list, which that will be the next video coming up on my channel. I really am going to try this year to post more videos, but also post consistently. I'm really good at filming the videos. I'm really bad at liking them afterwards. I'm not even a perfectionist. I don't have an excuse. Once I get irritated about something, that's pretty much it for me. Oh, I can show you this. I was keeping track. Can you even see this? This is my 25 for 25. I highlighted every single one that I finished. Sorry, I'm looking at the computer so I can see the screen. I highlighted every single one that I finished. Yeah, just the couple that I didn't finish. Here's a sneak peek of my list for 2026, but you cannot see yet. I refuse. Yeah, if you liked this video, please like it. Leave some comments. Let me know if you did a 25 for 25 challenge, if you completed it. If you plan on doing a 26 for 26 challenge, let me know. What books are you interested in seeing, or what books are you interested in reading for this new year? Any other comments you have? If you are interested in sticking around, maybe subscribe, or even put my video in a watch later list and come back to me. Who knows? Maybe I'll have more for you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great year. I hope 2026 is everything and more for all of you, and let's have a great reading year.